What comes after all of this? Dragon Ball Sparking Zero has put itself in a pretty weird situation with the last DLC finally coming out, the Daima DLC Pack 2, having two standalone characters with SSJ4 Adult Daima Goku and SSJ3 Adult Daima Vegeta being standalone characters that don't actually transform into the rest of their forms, and that was probably a pretty sour note to end the Sparking Zero DLC on, because people were really hoping that they would update DBZ, Goku, and Vegeta to just have these new transformations, since, you know, it's literally just their DBZ variants but of extra forms. But that didn't happen, and now Sparking Zero is in a weird place because that was the final DLC announced for the game, until obviously we get the reveals at Dragon Ball Battle Hour, but that happens next year, and by next year I mean several months after the year starts, so we have a very long time until we get any more updates for Dragon Ball Sparking Zero. However, because of the situation the game is in right now, releasing standalone characters, I think we could still actually get DLC on some more of the characters that haven't been added to the game so far. Hello everyone, it's me again, Steedoj here, back to more Dragon Ball Sparking Zero, and I didn't say that at the beginning of the video, so I'm saying that now. But one thing I did want to say is that Sparking Zero is feeling pretty brave right now. They actually are at a standalone character. Now, before, people were mocking Xenoverse 2, going, oh, Sparking Zero at least doesn't just release one character DLCs. Well, guess what? You thought Shallot was just the tip of the storm, but nope, they can also do it to Daima Goku and Daima Vegeta. Two characters who also transform just like Shallot, but they're not released in transformable states, they're just released in one form. Which is obviously very upsetting because this game marketed itself as the giant roster Dragon Ball game with lots of transformations available. Since for the longest time we were getting Dragon Ball games where characters just don't transform. Xenoverse, Fighters, you know, the etc, right? We had very few rare instances of characters transforming in both games, like them adding a base Gogeta several years after the game came out that turns into just Super Saiyan 1 but not Super Saiyan Blue for some reason. And then Fighters also has characters like Frieza that can go Golden, but that's literally the bare minimum because they also released GT Goku only goes Super Saiyan 4 for his ultimate attack, and then that's it. Sparking Zero was supposed to be a breath of fresh air with characters obviously, you know, going into all of their available forms because we haven't had that in so long in a Dragon Ball game. And then they come out and just bravely go, here's base Shallot, here's just SSJ4 Goku, here's just SSJ3 Vegeta. It's kind of upsetting because these characters used to be able to transform in all of these older games, especially when they were newly released too, but it's whatever, man. It makes me kind of feel like if DBS Broly released today, or if DBZ Broly came out today, they would only be in their legendary forms and they wouldn't actually make the base forms. Because think about it, they straight up skipped SSJ3 Daima Goku. Like, you could say, oh, well, they'd have to come up with a moveset for him and everything. Well, I mean, you would just give him GT Goku's moves? That's it. Like, you could just give him GT Goku's moves and then maybe change, like, the Dragon Fist, like, Melee Super into, like, an energy. You literally could have just done, like, the bare minimum, but they didn't even do that. They skipped it. So, now that the game is feeling brave enough to just be exactly like Xenoverse 2, where they will release standalone characters, we actually do have a good shot of getting more free DLC characters or just patch update characters. Again, if they can release Shallot standalone, and I want to remind you guys, the Shallot DLC is very cheap. If you just get Shallot standalone, it's very cheap. And I think that's what they're probably going to do with DLC until they, you know, get more DLC packs out for us to buy in bulk so they can make a larger sum of money. Because remember, people have been complaining that Super 17 is not in the game for the longest time, and now that we know that they're going to release standalone characters that don't transform for low prices, there's an absurdly high chance to get all the characters that we were saying, hey, this guy should be in the game, but like actually in the game this time. Like again, Supreme Kai, Super 17, Arale, a bunch of OG Dragon Ball characters. There's a really good shot that any of these characters can now be added as just extra things to buy in Sparking Zero. And obviously, as upsetting as that is going to be for a lot of people, I think that's just the most realistic way for a company to, one, make money, and to, two, cut costs. And we know Bandai Namco loves cutting costs and cutting corners when it comes to doing stuff. So this isn't like out of the ordinary at all. Genuinely though, the most Sparking Zero could do to save itself is not just adding one character DLCs every now and then for a low price. It would actually be some sort of big major gameplay change. I'm not talking about like a patch note that just balances characters or anything. I mean something that's actually just new for the fans to like just enjoy and play. And I'm not going to say anything too crazy. I'm not going to put down any wild suggestions I think could be way too far outside of Bandai Namco's scope. But maybe just something that's more generally team orientated or just, you know, involves more players like playing together in a certain way. I don't know, maybe there could be like a Dragon Ball, yeah, I'm just gonna, you know, the tried and true suggestion. I think the Dragon Ball Fighters raid bosses are probably some of the easiest things they could do to implement in a Dragon Ball game that people would enjoy. Literally just let like a team of people pick their characters and then fight an enemy that's like super hyper strong, and then let people be able to swap characters, and when they swap characters, it swaps to the other player who selected that character. I think that's something most people can agree with, that would be just a nice fun thing to do. This isn't even about like, you know, free idiots, like, you know, potential content. This is just about what would be fun for players to actually hop onto a game and just do, whether they're playing with their friends or they're just playing with randoms, something that's not going to, like, you know, make people annoyed and just actually give them something new to do in general. I think that'd be cool. Like the Legendary Warrior face-off thing, I think that should have really been like a multiplayer event. That shouldn't be like a single player only thing. It really should have been a multiplayer event. I think that would have made it like way more enjoyable, and I think most people would agree with that especially. Additionally, obviously, the Tenkaichi free modes that everyone has been talking about that should come back, such as Mission 100, the Android 18 dating sim, you know, survival mode, all of these things should come back. It is really weird how Dragon Ball Sparking Zero doesn't have a mode where you can just fight a bunch of the game's cast in one giant, like, gauntlet with your favorite character. I think that is pretty weird. It's like this is a game that has, yeah, it doesn't have as many capsules as Tenkaichi free, but it's weird how this game does have capsules, and they don't want you to use the capsules in anything other than, I guess, just like bot matches, because no one plays PvP with capsules on anymore, because obviously everyone is scared of getting cheesed out by someone else with, you know, a ridiculous set of capsules. But it's just so weird how, I don't know, like, bro, could you imagine how good survival mode would be in this? And it would have way more options too, because in Tenkaichi 3 you could fight the OG Dragon Ball cast and the Penguin Village cast in like a survival mode. You could fight all of the Frieza Force, or you could fight just the cast of the game in general, right? And Sparking Zero would have more options, because you would be able to fight like the DBZ cast, the DBS cast, movie characters, heroes or villains exclusively. You could just have survival mode based on all of these giant themes, you know, Super Saiyans only, androids only, all of these other like things, you know. I think that would be really, really cool if they did that, but I guess I guess just having 1v1 modes is enough for us, right? Just 1v1s and team battles that pretty much no one does anymore, because everyone's, again, scared of being cheesed by a ridiculous team setup. Also, man, the tournament mode in this game, now that I think about the other game modes, the tournament mode in this game is pretty lackluster compared to the other games. It's so weird, too, because you can customize tournaments in this game, and I still haven't seen, like, anything done of that. I don't even know if I've seen, like, any of the, like, I guess anyone do a Sparking Zero, like, tournament, right? I feel like several months after the game's been out, or with DLC characters out, like at least one like big Sparking Zero tournament would have been like done with the customizable tournament mode feature and all that stuff. But I don't know, the tournaments somehow still feel emptier than the ones in Tenkaichi 3. I guess maybe because the rules, ironically, are kind of restrictive in what they do. Compared to Tenkaichi 3 tournaments, where you'd have all these like different, it's time to start the cell games, you know, with its not so permanent health mechanic. And then you have the Otherworld tournament, which is just mad difficult. And then, you know, all of these other things. It's so weird that even with customizable tournaments, the tournament mode still feels emptier. And actually, honestly, I actually genuinely forgot tournament was a thing in this game. When I boot up Tenkaichi 3, I'm always like, oh, hey, I'll do the tournament so I can get some Dragon Balls and get loads of Zenny. But when I'm playing like Sparking Zero, I'm just like, oh, tournament modes? Nah, I'm just trying to go to battle real quick, you know? It's kind of weird. I didn't even think about that, but so many of the modes that are in Sparking Zero, like including custom battle mode 2, they get ignored pretty hard because what they offer isn't enough, so people just forget they exist in general. It's kind of tragic because it's not like it's not there. It is there. It just offers so little to not just me and you, but like any average Sparking Zero player, that people just genuinely ignore it. Like custom battles, even on even on the game right now, there's like, I'm not saying like the game's dead or anything, but custom battles in the game right now don't even get like that many like play counts or like likes or favorites or whatever. So people really just ignore the whole custom battle mode in general. Even the top custom battles, which are usually just Goku versus Goku, Goku and friends versus Broly, you know, all of the typical things that are already in Dragon Ball. Those don't even like really get that much attention anymore. Either way, I think this is a good place to end the video. Not much else to say, but I do wish Sparking Zero would do more, and they might actually do more, because again, if they're brave enough to release standalone characters now, they're probably going to release a few DLCs that have characters that, you know, we didn't get in the game as playable characters. I don't think they'll make Degasu playable, so if anyone asks, just chill. Alright, but Super 17, he has a very easy moveset they can just copy and paste from Tenkaichi 3, as well as several other characters, but even some Xenoverse characters that aren't playable in Sparking Zero could be in this, like Android 21 too. But if they, I'm so scared that if they add Android 21, it'll just be one of her forms, even though she's a transforming character, since they now do standalone. But yeah, I think this is a good place to end it. Again, you guys let me know what you think in the comment section down below. Don't forget to leave a like on the video. Don't forget to subscribe, as it greatly supports the channel. And I'll see you fellas all next time. I do love you all. I hope you all enjoyed. Take care and peace.